Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach. And I was thinking a lot about just wedding venues in general, the business of it, and what it really takes to, not what it takes, but the expectations that you should have if you're getting into this game, and especially regarding profitability and opportunities, that sort of thing. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the criteria that we look for when we're looking for a venue that have kept us in a sweet spot as far as um, availability, opportunity, and that sort of thing. So initially when we started, we didn't have the experience. We couldn't just build our own. We wanted to build a little bit closer to Dallas, but we started looking for venues for sale in the Dallas market. And so this is what we learned from doing this twice is we wanted to stay within 90 minutes of the Dallas Metroplex, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so it's actually from downtown Dallas. We were looking for venues that were within 90 minutes or closer to downtown Dallas. And the reason was when I did my research initially, I saw that most people are willing to travel up to about 90 minutes for their wedding venue. And now you'll get some outliers, people that come from 2 hours, 3, 4, 5 hours, stuff like that. But most people are keeping within 90 minutes. So that was the first criteria. The next thing I noticed is that each area has roughly the same ratio of venues to weddings. And so it's about 59 weddings per venue if you averaged it out. So my question was when we entered into this market was, can we get out of the 45 or whatever thousand, 45 to 48,000 weddings that happen here, can we get more than 60? And that seems pretty reasonable because not all venues are the same or built the same or even provide the same value or service. So can we be more valuable than half of the venues in the area? And I was confident that we could. So then the other expectation, so basically with that, you want to set yourself up to be successful. If you're too far away and you're not getting any tours, it might just be because you're too far away. I don't know if there's any underlying things that could also be driving that, but that could be an issue. And so if we set ourselves up with more likelihood of success, are we close to a city, like within 90 minutes? Are we available for tours? Is it a beautiful looking property, which I hope that it is. So those sorts of things should be the minimum criteria. Next thing, as far as expectations go, if you're starting off brand new, if you're not taking over a venue, if they don't have a lot of bookings already on the plate, then what is going to happen is you will need to front a lot of cash for about a year to a year and a half before you're going to start to see cash flow start trickling in. And that's a realistic expectation. So you're going to have your mortgage, your insurance, your taxes, your cost to fulfill, all these things, utilities, the internet, all that stuff. Plus you're going to have furniture, fixtures, and equipment to get right at the beginning if you didn't inherit a lot of it. And so for our first venue, we spent about $60,000 just on furniture and equipment right off the gate. And then, your monthly bill, give you some perspective, our monthly bill with our mortgage, with our utilities, payroll, what else am I missing? Insurance, all of that, it comes out to like 30, depending on your venue, it could be 30 to $40,000 total for everything a month. And in the beginning, you're not getting any sales, or you're getting a few deposits. You're not able to cover that cost. And unless you're backed, unless you buy the venue, you own the land, that sort of thing, sure. But if you have a mortgage, that's what you're looking at. It's like 30,000 plus a month is going to be your monthly expense, and you're going to be bringing in at the very beginning probably getting like 1 or 2 bookings in the first month, and then a couple more, and then a couple more as you get better. And as you start to be noticed, because people don't know where you are, they've never heard of you because you're brand new. And so you need to be able to front $30,000 times 12, $360,000. You need to be able to front for the first year. Now, as you get closer to that year mark, you should be making more money. But how this game works is you collect a deposit, so that's initial cash in, and then at some point in the future, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever, I've seen it, or 120 days, whatever it is for you that you decide to set, at that point the rest of the money comes due. And so you receive, typically it's half or some really close to half up front, and then the other half on the back. So while you might charge $6,000 for your venue, you get 3 up front and then 3 on the back, so you only get 3 this month. So if you need $30,000 in cash to get that, you need to get 10 bookings in every month on average until you catch up to those later payments. And then the average wedding gets booked 11.28 months in advance. So if you have 90 days, then you're going to get paid on day 1, and then you're going to get paid 9 months later. Right? And so if you're getting 10 bookings a month at $3,000, you're going to break even until month 9, and then you're going to start cash flowing. But if you're doing less than 10 a month, then it takes longer. And so your stable state to break even would be if you're getting 5 a month. In this example, you get 5 a month, you get $15,000 up front and $15,000 in 9 months. In 9 months, you'd be at break even. But then you would never go above that because you're only making $30,000 a month. So that's how you find your break even as well. And your minimum booking is based on the total value, but then your time to cash flow is based on how you receive your payments. So I broke this down for a client because they had a couple of different ways to get paid, and so the timing of it just really was just different for different things. And so one thing that we did was we actually created a spreadsheet so we could get an idea of when to expect the cash to start flowing. And so that gave them a better picture of what to expect in the coming months, especially as they increase their booking rate. So they got the new booking deposit 50%, then they got the remainder at 6 months, and then after that they received the bar and catering deposit at 3 months before the event, and then the last month they received the remaining bar and catering. And so they had present 6 months, 9 months, 10 months if the wedding was in 11 months sort of thing. And so that really just it can impact things in terms of cash flow. So if you have that idea of when money's coming in, then you know how long you have to hold out until you get there. So let's say you're just getting 5 a month. Well, you know you need 9 months of the gap. So if your break even's 30,000 and you're making 15, then you need 15,000 for 9 months until you can catch up to those payments. And that's on average. So you might want to carry 10 months or 11 months, and I like to say 12 months just to be safe. So you need 15,000 for 12 months if you start out at 5. Now you might start out at 1 or 2 and then go up to 5 and then go to 6, 7, 8. And that's awesome. That just I would say the average is still going to average out to about 9 months if you have your final payment due 9 months into the future. If it's 6 months from their initial deposit, then it's still 6 months. So keep that in mind as you're setting these policies and these payments, because that's going to impact when you start to cash flow and become actually profitable. So you'll look profitable on paper, but you'll be bleeding cash until you get to that point. And so once you get to that point, then you just maintain or do better, raise your rates, that sort of thing, and you'll start to see the cash come in and the money grow. And so that's really the expectation if you're coming into this game that you should have. And that's obviously, it varies. If you don't have a mortgage, then it would take less time. If you have a really, really big building, then it'll take more time. It just depends on your particular situation, but that's the math and the method behind the madness is know when you get paid, what you get paid at the beginning, what you absolutely need to survive, and then when that last payment comes in to where you equal your equilibrium state. So if you need $30,000 to survive, my goal, and you sell your package for 6,000, my goal wouldn't be 5. My goal is a minimum of 6, because I want to be profitable. I don't want to just be working to work without making any money. And so I would work for 6. I need 6 a month. That's what I need. And so when you get that 6, then you hit the 6, now you're making what is that, 18,000? You're only 12,000 short. And so now it's still like 9 months, but then you carry it to when you receive your final payment. So I hope this was helpful for you. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but as you get into this game, you have to make sure you have capital up front to cover those expenses until you hit that equilibrium state. So if you found this useful, please subscribe, stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you there.